After years of heartbreak, healing, and headlines, Selena Gomez finally stepped into a moment that felt like destiny. Not another rumor, not a blurry paparazzi clip. A real, hand-in-hand reveal where the room slowed down and the noise faded. Because on October 18th, at the Academy Museum Gala in Los Angeles, Selena Gomez and Blanco didn't just walk a carpet. They announced a new era without saying a single word. You could feel it before you could see it. The hush in the crowd, the flashbulbs sinking like a heartbeat. And then there they were, Selena, in a strapless black velvet gown that looked like it had been pulled straight from old Hollywood's secret vault, a sleek black jacket framing her shoulders, diamond chandelier earrings catching the light like falling stars, hair swept into a classic updo, a red lip that meant business. Benny next to her, mirroring her elegance in midnight blue velvet, double-breasted, with a navy silk shirt and loafers that whispered style instead of shouting it. They weren't trying to outsparkle the gala. They were telling a story. This is us. Married, peaceful, present, and completely, unapologetically in love. But here's what almost no one realized in that first breathless minute. This wasn't a debut. It was a promise fulfilled. The culmination of late-night studio runs, stolen smiles behind soundboards, carefully guarded softness that grew into something stronger than any headline. And it all started years ago, in rooms where the world wasn't invited. It didn't begin like a fairy tale. It began like a song. Quiet, then completely undeniable. Selena and Benny had known each other through music long before the internet gave them a label. Collaborations turned into confidences. Long sessions turned into longer conversations. And somewhere between the melodies and the mess, something shifted. Not with fireworks, but with the kind of spark you don't want to blow on too hard, in case it goes out. Friends first. Steady second. Brave, finally. Of course, the internet had questions when she went public in late 2023. Some fans cheered. Some side-eyed. Some typed essays at 2 a.m. about who deserved Selena Gomez, as if love was a casting call and strangers should get a vote. But Selena wasn't guessing. She wasn't auditioning. She said it plain. He was the best thing that had ever happened to her. Not perfect, not polished, just real. And that's what bothered people who conflate drama with romance. This wasn't drama. It was sanctuary. The pushback didn't break them. It bonded them. For once, the conversation felt less like a stage and more like a shield. She laughed. He listened. He cooked. She danced in the kitchen. He showed up when no one was watching. She posted when she felt like it and went quiet when she didn't. Their rhythm confused the tabloids because it wasn't designed to feed them. It was designed to feed the two people living it. Then came December 2024, an Instagram post that looked calm on the surface and volcanic underneath. A Marquise diamond that didn't scream but definitely sang. A glow that wasn't just lighting. A caption that didn't need to be long to feel loud. Reports claim he proposed during a quiet winter escape. No theatrics, just truth. Fans cried in the comments. Critics softened. And Selena? She didn't gloat. She didn't throw shade. She did something harder. She let herself be happy. Publicly. That's not small for a woman who's had her heart turned into a traffic circle by the media. After years of doing the healing work in front of millions, she chose one thing the spotlight rarely allows: privacy. So when September 27th, 2025 finally arrived, it didn't feel like a spectacle. It felt like a secret the sky was keeping. Marriage, close friends, family. A day that didn't need trending hashtags to be real. A day that wasn't built for us. And maybe that's why the world cared more when she finally shared the proof of what she'd already learned. Joy grows best when it isn't forced to perform. Cut to the Academy Museum Gala. Weeks later, but decades in the making. Look at the way their hands found each other automatically. The quiet jokes between poses. The kind of softness that doesn't feel fragile at all. The internet did what it does, exploding with comments like, "The way they look at each other. I want a love like this." And 1,000 variations on, "I knew it." But the people who've been watching closely didn't need convincing. They knew that what we saw on that carpet didn't start there, and it won't end there either. The style wasn't random. Selena's return to old Hollywood glamour wasn't about nostalgia. It was about legacy. She looked like every woman the industry labeled too much, or too soft, or too complicated, and then outlived the narrative. Benny's velvet suit didn't just match her, it mirrored her. 2 fabrics, 1 palette. Separate pieces. Same story. You don't accidentally coordinate that kind of harmony. You earn it. And the chemistry? You can't fake ease. You can rehearse smiles and practice poses, but you can't choreograph the micro moments. The laugh that starts in the eyes, the subconscious lean in, the quiet touch at the small of the back. Those are tells. And on that carpet, they were telling on themselves in the best possible way. This is love that isn't asking for permission anymore. But happiness looks simple only from far away. Up close, it's layered with everything she carried to get here. Selena Gomez has lived 1,000 lives in one. The kid star with a grown woman's work ethic. The chart topper with a diary full of unposted notes. The businesswoman who turned pain into product and then kept creating after people stopped expecting her to. The girl who wrote, "I needed to lose you to love me," and then actually went and did the loving part. Not the cinematic kind, the sober, daily kind. Maybe that's why this marriage feels different. Because it's not a PR solution or a rebound parade. It's proof that survival doesn't have to harden you. It can soften you where it counts and steel you where it doesn't. He produces. She writes. He experiments with soundscapes. She experiments with boundaries. He brings dinner. She brings relief. He keeps the noise out. She lets the music in. The math is simple and absolutely radical. Peace plus passion, permanence. And the internet? Oh, it will keep doing what it does. Fans are already speculating. Reports suggest he's involved in her next era of music. Whispers say there could be joint projects on the horizon. Some even claim they're building a no-ego zone around their marriage, a pact to let the work be the work and the love be the love. Unverified? Sure. But for once, the rumors are gentler than the truth. Because the truth is, when you watch them together, you don't think strategy, you think safety. The Academy Museum Gala red carpet was a victory lap, but not for the reasons you think. Not because she outdressed anyone or they outposed the room. It was a win because it was quiet power, a soft launch of the rest of their lives, a reminder that you can be luminous and still balanced, romantic and still resilient, famous and still free. And if you're a longtime Selena fan, you understood the message beneath the diamonds. She's building a life that doesn't need an audience to be worthy. Look closely, and you'll notice the breadcrumbs that led here. The way she began choosing projects that reflected her rhythms instead of her press cycles. The interviews that sounded less rehearsed and more rooted. The friends who looked like family. The creative decisions that prioritized joy over charts. The day she started posting less and living more. None of it was random. It was a woman designing a future she could stand inside without wobbling. And then there's Benny. People underestimate the artistic gravity of a producer because they can't buy a producer's face on a poster. But listen to the records he touches. He's the invisible architecture, the guy who can take chaos and make it cohesive. To someone like Selena, who's had every chapter of her life analyzed to the bone, that steadiness is intoxicating. It's not controlling. It's containing. It doesn't shrink her. It shields her. That's the difference between being managed and being loved. If you wanted drama, you came to the wrong story. The explosive reveal isn't a scandal. It's a softness we almost forgot to celebrate. 2 people who earned their peace and decided to protect it. That's why the walk at the gala felt like more than a photo op. It was a thesis statement in velvet and diamonds. We are together. We are okay. We are not asking for your blessing. Critics will try, as they always do, to stitch this into the fabric of every name that came before. They'll line up X's like trophies or warnings. They'll tally eras as if womanhood is a scoreboard. But the most rebellious thing Selena has done recently is refuse to turn her heart into content for anyone else's closure. She's not acting out a sequel. She's not auditioning for approval. She is, finally, inhabiting the role life tried to cast her out of, the main character in her own piece. And the fans? They know. They see a stillness around her that wasn't there before. The kind of glow that doesn't come from a ring or a dress, but from a nervous system that learned how to exhale. They've started calling it her true era of peace. The married era softness that looks like a woman who has stopped apologizing for wanting ordinary joys. Cooking, laughing, making music in rooms that aren't obsessively mic'd. Loving someone who protects the quiet like it's platinum. Does that mean the work stops? Not a chance. If anything, this season sharpens the art. People forget. Safety is gasoline for creativity. When your personal life stops screaming for your attention, you can hear your ideas again. You experiment, you risk, you play. That's what we should expect from her next. Less permission-seeking, more intuition-trusting. Maybe that's the collaboration the internet keeps whispering about. Less a duet on a track and more a duet in the studio, where trust is the only instrument you really need. Of course, there will be noise. There always is when a woman refuses to perform her pain on command. But that's the other hidden plot twist of this love story. They don't fear the chatter. They outlast it. There's a certain freedom in no longer being required to prove your happiness to strangers. And on that carpet, it was obvious. They weren't arguing with the past. They were busy building the future. Look at the details and you'll see the map. The velvet, soft yet structured, like a boundary you can lean on. The diamonds, old-world glamour for a woman who grew up under new-world scrutiny. The navy silk, cool, unfussy, timeless. The coordinated silhouettes, 2 identities, 1 intention. It wasn't just fashion, it was foreshadowing. So where does the story go next? Reports claim there are creative seeds already planted, projects that blend her narrative-driven vocal honesty with his instinct for invisible design. Some fans are speculating about an intimate visual project. Short form, high concept, low noise. Others are whispering about a sound that leans warmer, deeper, less about chasing the big hook, and more about letting the hook find you. None of that is confirmed. It doesn't have to be. The bigger news is that for the first time in a long time, Selena doesn't seem to be racing toward anything. She's not behind. She's right on time, and you know what else? The red carpet didn't feel like closure. It felt like chapter 1. That's the difference between event and evolution. An event gives you pictures. Evolution gives you perspective. Standing there under museum lights, surrounded by the history of motion pictures, they looked like 2 people who understood the assignment, to keep moving, together, without losing the softness that brought them here. Maybe that's why the clips from that night went viral. Not because of the dress or the camera angles, but because love like this makes you rethink your own expectations. The comments didn't sound jealous. They sounded hopeful. "I want a love like this," one fan wrote. "Quiet, stable, long game." It's not the kind of line that trends for drama, but it lingers. And lately, lingering feels revolutionary. Here's the part that you might miss if you only scroll the headlines. This night was not about erasing her past. It was about integrating it. Every heartbreak taught her a boundary. Every rumor taught her patience. Every comeback taught her pacing. By the time she walked into that gala with her husband's hand in hers, she wasn't proving anything. She was arriving. There's a difference, and you could see it in the way her shoulders dropped when she smiled. Call it grown woman grace. Call it unbothered energy. Call it what happens when you stop negotiating your joy with people who don't have to live with the consequences. That's the hidden story behind the pretty pictures. Not a fairy tale, but a blueprint. Find the love that calms you, not the one that casts you. Build the life that steadies you, not the one that shocks you. And when you step into a room that once swallowed you whole, bring your peace with you and watch the room change shape. In the end, the Academy Museum Gala gave us a frame. Selena and Benny gave us the portrait. And yes, it's beautiful. But more than that, it's balanced. It looks like 2 people who traded performative romance for practical devotion and found out it was stronger, sweeter, and, ironically, way more cinematic. The twist no one saw coming? The softest love wins. So if you're scrolling tonight and you land on those photos, look past the velvet and the diamonds. See the story inside the stillness. A woman who did the hard, unglamorous work of coming back to herself. A man who didn't demand center stage to stand beside her. A marriage that debuted not with fireworks, but with focus. And if you're wondering how to root for them without turning them into a spectacle, try this. Wish them ordinary days. Wish them boring breakfasts and loud laughing nights. Wish them the kind of small private miracles that don't trend but build legacies anyway. Because under the lights, with the world watching, Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco quietly showed us something the internet rarely gives. Proof that happy endings aren't loud. They're just true.